Hi everyone. Today I am finally doing what I promised, and that is a Q&A on video. Right now I'm out in the middle of the desert in California, just north of Joshua Tree National Park. I've been out here a couple of days dry camping on BLM land. If you think I look tired or red and puffy in my face, I'm fine, don't worry. It's just a sunburn. And if my face looks shiny, it's because I have lotion on it. So, not to worry about that. As my mother used to say when my brother and I got out in the sun a lot, I'm brown as a berry. So, let's get on with the Q&A. The first one is from Annette, who says, "You're living my own dream retirement. My big question is, how do you manage to get mail? Do you have a post office box somewhere? How does your mail catch up to you?" I get my mail through the mail forwarding services from escapees. My legal mailbox and address is in Livingston, Texas, where their headquarters is located. And it's very convenient. I don't get a lot of mail. Almost everything I do is online. But from time to time, I get mail. And I'll call them up every week or two and say, "Do you have any mail for me?" And they'll say yes or no, and then I have it shipped to an address I tell them. The last mail shipment went to my friend Jeannie's house in Texas. I don't know when I'm going to get the next one because I haven't called to see if I have any mail. Like I said, I get very little, and I've already told them to weed out catalogs and things like that. I only want my first class mail. If I know I'm going to be getting something like through my insurance company or something like that, then I check more often. But it's very convenient so far. The next question comes from Danny. And Danny has a two-parter here. First, she wants to know how many hours a day do I write and when, and is there a weekly goal I try to meet? So far, I haven't set a weekly goal. I probably should. I'd probably get more done. But I try to write 2 to 4 hours a day, and that includes weekends. However, I don't always write every day because if I'm traveling, if I'm driving 2 to 4.5 hours a day, sometimes my eyes are tired and I don't write. Then there are days I get up and I write for an hour or so and then hit the road. I also find that while I used to write every morning when I held down a full-time job, I tend to write more in the evenings now. I'm not tired after a long day like I was sitting at a computer 8 hours a day. So I find that once the sun goes down, I've had supper, I have a couple of hours during which I can get a lot done. Sometimes I'm really too tired to do it, but I try to get more done there. So definitely try to do it in the morning, and I try to do some in the evening. She also asked how I'm submitting things or communicating with my publisher on the road, and have I had any internet connection issues while on the road. First off, I am no longer under contract to publishers. I still communicate with them occasionally because I still have royalties coming in from them, and I'm trying to get my rights back from Midnight Inc., who is closing its doors. But I really have no communication with them, and if I need to, I can always email my agent, and my agent can do that. I am now an independent author, and that means my publisher is the Novel RV. And so communicating with the Novel RV is pretty easy. As far as connectivity, that comes and goes. I can be in a place that has no service at all, no cell, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And maybe in 2 days I will have all my bars and free Wi-Fi. It's hard to tell. Right now I'm out in the middle of the desert and I have tons of connectivity. So if I need to get on the internet and not use my cellular, I actually could use my phone as a hotspot, but I find usually my cellular service is enough for the internet I need. Judy asked a couple of questions. She wants to know what's my biggest challenge. She wants to know which city so far is my favorite. and she wants to know how different is it from what I expected. I want to answer the last question first. How different is this from what I expected? Not very. I had done a lot of homework. I communicated with a lot of people who lived in vans, so I kind of knew what to expect. If there's one thing I can say is that it is exceeding my expectations as far as how much I enjoy it. I love living in this van. I love being able to wake up in the morning and go, you know, I'm done with this place. I'm moving on. It's very nice. And since I can write anywhere, it doesn't interfere with that. As for the other questions, what's been my biggest challenge has been, I think, when my propane goes out, which is out right now, because I can cook without propane, I can heat water and wash up without propane, but the heat thing is going someplace where it's cold and not having that propane for heat. And if I'm not hooked up to electricity, I still have no heat. That's been my biggest challenge, but it's still not something I can't overcome. As far as my favorite city so far, I don't know. I've seen so many wonderful things, but I have to say I've spent almost no time in major cities. But somebody else asked about my favorite things I've seen so far, so we'll address that in a little bit. And Greta asked, what is the biggest surprise given all the planning I did to prepare, which ties in with the fact that I think the biggest surprise is that it's even more enjoyable than I expected, by a long shot. I really didn't expect to take to it as quickly as I did. I knew I would enjoy it. I just didn't expect to hit the ground running with such true joy. The next, Melissa wanted to know what is my favorite spot I have camped and what is my least favorite spot or worst spot so far. I'm sure some of you would think my worst spot is either a truck stop or a Walmart, but those aren't. I actually enjoy parking there when the need arises. My favorite campground so far, there's a real tie. One is the Davis Bayou down at the Gulf Islands National Seashore. Great park, great location. But the prettiest park I've been in so far has to be, it probably has to be the Tyler State Park in Texas. Beautiful facilities, huge park, right on a lake, in the woods. Of course, it was below freezing most of the time I was there, which wasn't fun. But as far as the park went, stunning, and I can't wait to go back. Another favorite place was probably the City of Rocks in New Mexico. No hookups, no nothing, but wow, it was just incredible to get up in the morning, open the windows, and see those magnificent rocks and the desert around it. And that also ties into, Teresa Wagner asked what are the most interesting places I've been to date. I think those parks, and add to it the Houston Space Center. Not a national park, but a national treasure. Cozy Cat Reviews asked a very interesting question. Are you finding it easy to maintain the van and live in Novella while traveling? Yes, maintaining the daily maintenance, like emptying my tanks, getting fresh water, things like that, gassing it up, has been really easy. Getting repairs on the road is a little more problematic. I just had several things repaired while I was at the Winnie B rally at McDowell Park recently. So several things got fixed while I was there. And another time I stopped at an RV park and a mobile unit came to me that has, this mobile unit was referred to me by another Travato owner. And I stayed in a park that I probably would never have stayed in. It was a private RV park that I wasn't crazy about. But I stayed there 2 days and he came and he fixed a lot of issues. including worked on my propane, added cab steps, fixed some weather stripping that just wouldn't stay fixed. So yeah, it's you have to plan for those repairs, and you have to get referrals and know what you're doing so that when they come, they can get right down to it and do the repairs. I've been lucky in getting the repairs done, but sometimes it's not that easy. Jenny wants to know if I'm planning to come to East Tennessee. I don't know, Jenny. I am planning on coming down the East Coast in the fall. Right now, there are no plans to specifically visit East Tennessee, but all I can say to people who want to know if I'm coming to their area is to watch the Novel RV page on Facebook. I always tell people where I'm going to be soon, and I always enjoy meeting readers and followers. So recently, 2 people who lived in the Scottsdale area and Tempe area met me for lunch because they saw I was going to be in that area. So don't be shy. If you see that I have an event coming up in your area or I'm traveling near your area, don't be shy about asking if I'm actually going to be close to you. I have often met people for lunch as I was rolling in or out of town. Bammy asked, on all my travels, are there any plans to ever be in Columbus, Georgia? Or in the Albany, Georgia area? Again, same question, same answer. Follow my travels. Follow the Facebook page. I try to tell people where I'm heading a day or 2 ahead of time. Right now, I am going to be up in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest in April and May. I have a couple of speaking engagements up there, and I have a couple of van meetups up there, but no other things really set. So I'm going to be kind of footloose and fancy free for several weeks until I get up to Washington. And my first event is a meetup at the end of April. So between now and then, I'm going to be traveling. So definitely watch the page to see if I'm going to be near you. Marcy asked if I'm coming up into the Seattle area. Yes, Marcy, I am. My 2 speaking gigs up there are private events, private clubs that I'm speaking at. But I am going to be up in, I'm going to be in Vancouver, Washington. I'm going to be in Sumner, Washington. I'm going to be up in that area in the first part of May through mid-May. So contact me, see if we can get together. I'm very open to things like that. Cozy Cats asks another question. How am I enjoying retirement? Enough said. Linda Huggins asked, have I ever felt this free? No. Seriously, no. There's a lot of freedom, a lot of wow to just knowing that when I wake up in the morning, everything is my decision. Do I want to stay in this campground? Do I want to move to another? Sometimes another van owner will contact me and say, I'm going to be in your area, and I'll leave a campground and go meet them, or they'll come and meet me. That's happened a few times. So, you know, every day, unless I have a speaking engagement that's scheduled, my time is my time. And I mean, I still have to do my writing. I still have some obligations, but pretty much it's all about my time and how I want to use it. So have I ever felt this free? No. Annie Hayes asked what has been the most challenging or frustrating times during my travels in full-time RVing. And again, this goes back to something else I answered, is probably getting repairs that I need or having something go out. But that's about it. And that hasn't happened that often. And nothing has been insurmountable. Cheryl asked the very same question, what's been my biggest challenge? Listen to the prior answer. Here's a good question that I actually have been asked several times by even friends. Do I ever get cabin fever? Did I have any regrets after those strong winds that kept me kind of locked in my van for a couple of days in New Mexico? And do I get cabin fever? Yeah, sometimes. Those days I was in a Walmart parking lot for 2 days trying to sit out those monster winds. I tried to keep busy by writing, but honestly, those winds were so horrible that pretty much I was terrified most of the time. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. As soon as those winds died, Novella and I hit the ground running and took off. But when I'm on a campground and I'm going to be there for 4 or 5 days on a writer's retreat, I call them. I'll travel and then I'll hole up somewhere for a few days. I call those my writer's retreats. And I try to go out and walk. But honestly, if I can sit inside the van and look out the slider and see the beauty, I can sit there and write for days. And that's why I call them my writer retreats. Cheryl also asked, how hard was it to reduce my personal belongings to fit into my van? It was hard, and I only had an apartment. It was a big apartment, but I had an apartment. And I guess it's just you have to have a mindset. I had to really understand that if I didn't get rid of these things, I could not follow my dream and meet this new goal. And once you look at the big picture, those material things don't seem that important. So at that point, once you make that click in your brain, it's very easy to get rid of things. It's like somebody comes over, here, take this. And even since I've been in here, I was visiting my friends Scott and Linda is a professional closet organizer. And we spent hours in this van going through every single cabinet, every single closet, every single basket. And she helped me downsize it a great deal more. So I run pretty lean and mean here. I do have some frivolous items, but they're there because they make me happy. My friend Chris asked, how are you getting audiobooks while on the road? I have an Audible subscription, a monthly subscription, and I download them. I download them to my phone, and then when I'm driving, my phone is connected by Bluetooth to the speaker system in my van, and I can easily listen to them, stop them when I need to, change out, whatever, all from the steering wheel. It's very convenient. I have a lot that I recently downloaded that I'll be listening to as I drive, once again, hours through the desert in the next couple of days. Jessica asked, what is the one thing so far that was most unexpected about full-time on the road? And I answered this already. It's that how much I enjoy it. Kathy Joe said, what has been the most exciting and surprising experience in the past 2 months? Again, the fact that I enjoy this so much. That and all the wonderful people I'm meeting. I didn't expect to meet a bunch of crab apples, but I have just really, both in my Travato family and just in strangers on the road, I have met the loveliest people. And I guess I'm surprised at how friendly everybody is and how open and accepting they are. Ellen asked, if you could share one piece of advice to someone considering your RV lifestyle, what would it be? That's easy. Prepare. Do your homework. Make sure the rig you buy is the one suited for your needs and not just you're buying it just because someone else has it. Not everyone is suited for the small tightness of van life, just as not everyone's suited for a big Class A. Do your homework. Research the rigs. Make sure you get the one that's right for you. Maybe it's a travel trailer and not a motorhome. And prepare in other ways. I had a checklist. I knew what I had to do, not just physically to make this work, but the paperwork I had to do in my own personal life, make sure my banking was set up, make sure all my credit cards and my insurance and things like that were all apprised of my new address. I got new glasses. I got a spare set of glasses. I got all my dental work caught up. I got a physical before I left. Prepare, 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 and learn, learn, learn before you ever hit the road. A lot of people do wash out from this lifestyle, and I believe truly it's because they were blindsided by things they weren't prepared for. Becky asked, are you writing another Odelia Gray novel? Yes, Becky, I am. It will not be out this year. This year I'm focusing on finishing up Finding Zelda, which is a non-mystery novel I've been diddling around with for years, and it's so close to being finished that I've got to get it finished. And I'm going to be releasing a new Granny book by the end of this year. I had wanted it to come out in July. I don't know if it's going to be out in July or not, but it's called Ghost of a Honeymoon. So those will be coming out this year. Next year it'll be Odelia and, wait for it, the third Madison Rose one. I'm sure a whole bunch of cheers went up. I get asked all the time for the next Madison Rose vampire mystery. So this year it's Granny and Zelda, and next year it's going to be Odelia and Madison. So I hope that keeps a lot of you happy out there. Amy asked if I had any plans on adopting a four-legged travel companion. Not at this time. I miss having one. That's the honest truth. I miss it terribly. But I made a deal with myself that I would get through 1 year of van travel before I made a commitment to an animal. And they are a commitment. When I go to these rallies, like I was just at the Winnie B rally, I soak up as much canine and kitty love as I can at those things. And fortunately, a lot of my van friends have the most adorable animals, and those animals love me mauling them with affection. So I get that, and honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back to having that commitment as much as I love and miss having an animal. Becky asked, what is my favorite part of being on the road? Being able to change my location anytime I get a mind to. Literally. It's happened many times where I've woken up. I went to bed thinking I was going to head in one direction. I wake up and head in another. So I think that really is my favorite part, is the freedom I have. Carolyn also asked about the cabin fever, which I've answered. Lynn asks, how did you overcome any fears you may have about living full-time on the road? Honestly, by facing them head on. There are fears I had that are gone. There are fears I had that are still with me. And there are fears that I know I have to step out of my comfort zone in order to really attack, and I'm not ready for some of those yet. So I am very slowly attacking all my fears, and some of them are stupid, and some of them are serious, and some of them are just make no sense at all. I will tell you, I'll never overcome my fear of alligators, which is funny. Well, no one should overcome their fear of alligators, but when I go to a campground and there are signs posted, you know, caution alligators, at those parks, sometimes I don't rest quite as easy, but that's me. But whether you're in a van or not, the only way to overcome fears is to face them. And the last question is, and this is from Lynn again, and this is a very funny question, which is why I saved it for the end. Is it true that frozen thin mints are good, or is Odelia just messing with us? I used to like thin mints. I'm not a big fan anymore. For some reason, I lost the taste for them. Odelia adores them. And yes, they are even better frozen. That's about the only way I'll eat them now. And here's a tip. They're even good if you put a little peanut butter between two of them, make a sandwich. But somewhere along the line, I lost my taste for them. My favorite cookie is actually the Pepperidge Farm Milano dark chocolate. Those are my favorite. And I don't often buy them because I can't keep my hands off them. But Odelia is still a big Thin Mint fan. Anyway, those are the questions I got. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A video. And thank you for traveling along with me. I always laugh when people say, "Are you lonely?" How can I be lonely? I'm a phone call away from my besties and my family. My family tracks me on Life 360. They always know where I am. And you know, I have the internet. I have all of you following along with me. It's really hard to get really lonely. So with that, thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.